Welcome to GapSip. I'm Andrew Papageorge.
And I'm Craig Marshall. And together, Andrew and I co-founded GapSip to help people in transition close gaps. So if you're ready to close a gap in one or two areas of your life, well, then you're in the right place. Because we have methods to help you get more clarity on both your big picture and what you're going to need to do to reach your goals. Our purpose is really to give you a preview today of how GapSip helps individuals navigate their transitions in order to reach greater outer success and inner fulfillment.
Well, here's what we hope you'll learn today, because you'll be given the opportunity to see what there is of value in all transitions. We're going to talk about the 3 principles to guide your thinking and action through your transitions. We're going to touch on the skills and processes and the right environment to support you in transition. Plus, you can participate in some GapSip activities, and we'll tell you how to do that. Craig and I want to share a little bit about who we are before we get into all of the principles and the system and so forth. And I was born and raised in the Midwest and moved to California to work on my doctorate in humanistic psychology, which is basically an approach to psychology that involves the whole human being, body, mind, and spirit. In the early 80s, I founded a company that designed and distributed the first personal planner. It was a revolutionary idea in its time. You probably had one where you put it in your hand and you write in it, and you know the computer's sort of taken over with that now. But back in the 80s, that was a big new innovation in the business and for individuals. In the 90s, I shifted my attention to strategic thinking and innovation in business. And since then, I've guided hundreds of small and large organizations through literally thousands of innovations. I've had the opportunity to build 5 major businesses and the good fortune to sell one to a Fortune 100 company. And in the process, I've authored 9 groundbreaking works for personal and professional success. I've been married to my wife, Mary Ann, for over 30 years, and we have 1 son.
So while Andrew was achieving all that outer success, I was focusing on the inside more because I was actually a yoga monk for 35 years, although I did lecture around the world on meditation and conscious living. But I was born in Los Angeles and had parents who were childhood sweethearts from Kentucky, so I had a good start. And I was actually a child TV actor, so I sold you things like Crest toothpaste, Kellogg's Corn Flakes, and all kinds of unhealthy foods. And later I got a film degree from USC and then lived and worked in Germany and later in Greece and actually in Egypt. But the deepest part of me is really defined by a couple of major transitions that I went through. So that's why I understand the dynamics of how fear works and major life changes and the challenge it is to follow one's intuition. And these days, because of all that, I'm less and less afraid to learn, unlearn, and relearn. And I'm also blessed to be surrounded by truly extraordinary people, and Andrew is, of course, one of them. So let's start by talking a little about evolution, you know, where we've come from. And it was Charles Darwin who outlined the process of human evolution in the West. And, of course, he sailed around the world studying how every creature adapted and evolved. And his central deduction was, it's not the strongest of the species that survive, nor the most intelligent, but the one most receptive to change. And change is something very much in front of all of us these days, no matter what our situation, because the world seems under greater pressure to evolve than at any other time. And we all have parts to play in this, and I think the exciting part is that we can ride this wave of transition because new challenges always require new ways of thinking, and that's where GapSip starts.
You know, transition is literally defined as getting from one point to another. But at GapSip, we see transition as this very dynamic opportunity to take the next steps into your vision. So it's really a very positive thing, a very opportunistic thing, a transition. You know, at GAPSIP, we break life down into what we call 8 slices of life. And these slices include career and relationships, life balance, financial security, health, service, self-confidence, and spiritual. Of course, when there's a transition in one area, such as career, it does impact all of the other areas, relationships, our self-confidence, maybe our financial security. So all these slices of life sort of make up the whole of who we are, if you would. You know, one of our clients, who's a successful surgeon, came to us with a very serious challenge. He had a family, a thriving practice, one too many patients, and he was frustrated because he wanted to launch a worldwide philanthropic organization. We actually helped him to restructure his whole life, supporting the development of the structures in his life, both in his business life and in his personal relationships, that he needed. Now he's successful in all ways that are very important to him.
Our GAPSIP system fundamentally rests on 3 cardinal principles. And principles are universal laws that govern our lives, things like gravity. Principles are true regardless of the circumstances or conditions, and as someone said, we do not learn principles, rather we unlearn beliefs that are inconsistent with them, meaning we learn a lot the hard way. And discussing principles is a little bit like a facts of life lecture because unlike fantasies, principles are realities. They're the foundations of the world we live in. And the true principle affects things consistently and very predictably. In contrast, those who consciously or unconsciously act in ways contrary to principles usually experience very limited success along with very significant stress.
The GAPSIP principles have some major implications for us. The 3 principles are: everyone has unlimited potential, thinking leads to action, leads to results, and everything is connected. These will actually spark your imagination, challenge your beliefs, stimulate your creativity, and put you in touch with your intuition. They will also challenge many of your cherished beliefs. So let's take a look at them. Number 1, everyone has unlimited potential. You know, because we all have intuition, we all know on a very deep level that we have unlimited power and potential. Stop, take a moment. Don't you really believe that? The important question is, what's holding us back from achieving our true potential? In nearly everyone's life, there eventually comes a time when they're forced to make very important decisions.
You know, and this is when we're asked to maybe embark on some kind of hero's journey or to stay safe, you know, on this side of the river. And these can be pretty big transitions when something really powerful is calling to us or something, you know, collapses around us. In fact, there's a word for this calling, and it's vocation, which is different than career and actually means being called. And I think we all realize that we're creative, but we also know that these new endeavors are accompanied by challenges, you know, and involve risk. And actually, heroes recognize that particular sinking feeling as a clue that they're on the right track. So if you're feeling that, you're in good company. But if you're always satisfied and comfortable, it may mean that you're sacrificing some progress. And that's the purpose, basically, of transitions, is to shake us out of our stuckness and our old comfort zones. So let's take a look at number 2. This principle is one of the great discoveries of all time. And it says that thought is creative. Thought is a cause of effects. It's the starting point of every new innovation. And this is profound, realizing that thinking leads to action, leads to results. Just as freezing water creates ice, so our thinking becomes eventually some kind of physical form. Everything in the universe is thought in material form because mind is the architect. Even our families and organizations are shaped by the way we think. So to be more innovative, to close more gaps, we must change how we think and act and interact.
You know, however, our old thought patterns can hold us captive, just like this mind in a cage, if you would. Thought creates the world around us, and then it says to us, well, I didn't do that. You know, our thinking has developed in such a way that it claims not to affect anything, but rather relates to us what's real, what's true. So what we see in the world, we think is real, is true. But this is not true. Our thoughts do create our view of the world, our conditions. We all see life through these rose-colored glasses of our beliefs and our prejudices. You know, thus the primary obstacle to effective and efficient transitions and innovation lie in the way we think. If your thinking isn't to change, then any new input that you get will end up being processed by old thinking and produce the old results. That's why we have a favorite saying here at GAPSIP, which is, how we think is more important than what we think. Because the major problem with most of us is generally with what we think, and rarely do we think about how we think, yet how we think is more important than what we think. Why that is because no matter what you're thinking about, the content of your thinking, be it relationships or career or vacation or work or whatever it is, the content there of your thinking is embraced within how you think. GAPSIP teaches a superior creative thinking framework that we call the ZIP cycle. It offers a more comprehensive approach for thinking in new and dynamic and intuitive ways. It's been proven over 35 years and guarantees consistently superior results. Right?
Principle number three, principle number 3 is that everything is connected. And, you know, basically it is true in the law of physics that everything in the universe affects everything else because everything is part of one interconnected whole. And all the parts of the universe are linked together and they interchange their influences. However, our human cultural programming causes us to see the world as fragmented, you know, made up of separate things. And that's why we tend to break everything into bits, like individual departments or countries or religions. But rather than as sameness, all of us need to learn to see the world in terms of related parts of a whole. And this Australian physicist, Paul Davies, explained it this way. He said, to the naive realist, the universe is a collection of objects. But to the quantum physicist, it's an inseparable web of vibrating energy patterns in which no one component has reality independent of the entirety. And amazingly, included in that entirety is the observer, us, meaning our thoughts. So the GAPSIP system is basically a simple, common sense framework for how, not what to think, that will deepen your awareness of yourself and your environment, focus your attention on what's most important, guide you in making dynamic and healthy choices, plus direct your actions to be in alignment with those commitments. So let's explore the 3 major components of the system. We call them the ZIP skills, the ZIP cycle, and the ZIP context or environment.
The ZIP skills are at the core of the GAPSIP system and are one's really personal inner environment. And the core personal skills are courage, creativity, openness, and intuition. And practice of these personal qualities will have a major influence on your success or failure in life. Without developing these potentials, we will remain fearful and stagnant and even defensive in a survival state, if you would. In contrast, history's heroes are those who have really marshaled these 4 skills to innovate new and valuable things. So here's the definitions, if you would, of the 4 elements of the ZIP skills. Courage or fearlessness is about embracing fear while moving forward. Creativity is the generation of new and useful ideas. Intuition is conscious understanding beyond logic and perception, and openness is being receptive, flexible, and authentic. You know, these 4 skills are primary drivers of external accomplishment. Plus, they are the building block of self-confidence and self-esteem.
Cycles are really fundamental structures, not only found in nature, but in all of life. And cycles, like systems, make up the world in which we live. The ZIP cycle is a structure for thinking that employs both systems thinking and inductive logic, where one first sees or visualizes an optimum future and then builds a bridge back from the future to the present moment. It outlines a sequence of activities that's going to maximize the probability of success in your endeavors. And it can be used on virtually any project, adding structure and discipline to the creative thinking process. So the cycle consists of 5 separate but interdependent phases that will shorten the innovation process. Plus, it will enhance your results and conserve valuable resources. So who doesn't want that? So take a look at these definitions. Phase 1 is visualize purpose and ideal future, which means clarifying purpose and ideal future state, defining the beginning and end points of where you want to go and what your results will look like once you get there. Phase 2 is measure gaps. Gaps exist because, you know, that's the distance between your current state and where you want to end up. Phase 3 is strategize approaches. And strategies are developed to minimize and eliminate gaps. And we call strategies the big how. Phase 4, projectize the details, because projects are vehicles to bring strategies into reality. They detail necessary activities, resource requirements, and timelines, things like that. And phase 5 is orchestrate results. Project activities for the innovation are implemented, while at the same time, one fulfills other commitments. So there's a lot going on at that stage.
The third component of the GAP-ZIP system is what we call the context. And these are the environmental forces that impact success. And they include people, structure, process, technology, and finance. And these will either hinder or enable you in your transition. That is why successful people who innovate and who have successful transitions really do what gardeners do and focus on nurturing the environment in which their plants grow, or in the case of all of us, in which our ideas and vision live. Let's take a little closer look at each of these. You know, it's easy for people working on the nuts and bolts of closing a gap to lose sight of the people around them. That's why we bring attention to people in the context of number 1. Transition and innovation will be easier, it'll be swifter, and of a higher quality when key stakeholders are included from the beginning. Structure. You know, in order to close gaps, we often need new physical structures, new policies, clearly defined roles and responsibilities. These are all forms of structure that are around us in our environment. Process is the method by which work gets done and change is brought about. So we have these dynamic processes that involve our activities when we want to achieve a goal. And sometimes you've got to change those processes around you to transition effectively. Technology does not close gaps, people do. But technology is a great enabler at the center of an innovation-friendly environment. And finance. Closing gaps usually requires money, So what's the budget? Where does the money come from? How much will your investors seek to get in return? What's the financial risk? These are all very important questions as we begin to transition from one place to the next.
So the purpose of the GAP-SIP system in total is to provide a more complete picture of your reality and also to define more accurate and meaningful answers to questions like, what's going on, or what's causing this problem, or what are the best solutions. So by answering these key questions in a scientific way, you can create a more comprehensive total solution as you work with the many forces that are influencing success. One of our clients is a very successful salesperson, but she was actually a workaholic and, in a way, a kind of isolated person. So we helped her identify and hire a perfect assistant, and that enhanced the quality of her life in so many ways. Not only did she offload a lot of busy work, but she's become one of the top producers for her company, and she just won a trip to Peru. And she recently told us, before I embark on anything, I ask myself this question: what is the purpose? Because that's where that zip cycle starts. So in our work, Andrew and I are offering through GAP-SIP basically 5 different services. We do consulting, both business and personal. We have online learning programs. We do live workshops in Southern California. We have a digital library. And also we do keynote speeches and experiences.
Our consulting clients are dynamic and goal-oriented individuals who express 3 primary qualities. And they are, 1, at a point in their transition where they're ready to move forward. 2, they're committed to achieving greater outer success and inner fulfillment. And 3, they're open to working with us in collaboration rather than trying to figure things out on their own. Our clients, they come from all walks of life. They include writers, scientists, entertainers, health professionals, housewives, managers, and young people in search of careers.
When we work with individual clients, this is an example of a worksheet that we use. And we take them through a cycle, maybe on their whole life if they choose, or on one of the specific 8 slices of life. But by helping them define their life purpose at the highest level, they get what they want in maybe the most dynamic way. Because once you know your individual life purpose, the conversations that you have will change because you'll know who you are and where you stand. So people will listen to you in a whole new way, and they'll want to support you, and they'll wonder why you're so dynamic, and also they'll want to be a part of it. That's the power of purpose. In our personal consulting, we offer one-on-one direct support to our clients. But we don't have unlimited time, and plus consulting isn't affordable by everyone. So that's why we've developed a really incredible way for individuals to receive all of our whole consulting package, plus get that ongoing support. And it's an ongoing and collaborative online learning program. We call it Bridging Life's Transitions. And it's for anyone committed to enhancing their life, whether that's in career, relationships, balance, any slice of their life.
So the program begins with a personal strengths assessment and a personality profile. And in the program, you're going to learn the GAP-SIP tools to measure progress and keep you on track. It's a really media-rich. It's full of webinars and videos and MP3s that you can download to hear in your car. It features a buddy system for fun, accountability, and support. You can even create your own content and share that with others, be it photos or videos, text documents. You can be a member of the worldwide GAP-SIP community when you join this program. And at any time you wish, you can get optional personal consulting. So the real question is, are you ready to create the next you?
So if you can make it to Southern California, we offer 3 workshops. The first we call Transitions, the Next You, which introduces you to the to the dynamics of transition. You'll focus on one slice of your life and explore 3 keys to successful transition. The first is courage, how to use your fears as fuel for your transition. Also purpose, the beginning point for transition. And also relationships, the 3 secrets of meaningful connections. Our next workshop is purpose, the core of any transition. We've talked about the power of purpose, and this workshop is for those ready to explore that basic question in transitions. It'll make you more conscious about what's going on in all the slices of your life and open the door to you exploring your life purpose. And finally, our ZIP cycle, the Thinking Framework for Transition workshop, which goes into the 5 phases of the ZIP cycle as you apply them to your current transition. And you'll leave this workshop with a greater sense of your ideal future, plus concrete plans for moving forward. Also, we have our GapZip online connection, which is our basic learning library. And under categories, you'll find subject heading for all the elements of our system, including articles, videos, webinars, those downloadable MP3s, and you can drill down as far as you want to go. And you can also share videos, links, and text documents, and it's really like being part of a mastermind group, so you can focus on whatever subjects you choose.
You know, in the connection, you'll be able to explore the GapZip system, learn through featured posts, listen to live and archived events, browse the contradictionary, plus share with others and question Andrew and Craig. Craig and I deliver keynotes to business and social groups, and they vary in length from 1 to 4 hours. And in our longer keynotes, audiences actually engage in experiential learning like we have in our workshops.
One of our clients was struggling to find a new relationship in his life, and he had a series of disastrous experiences, and so we helped him get a new clarity on what he was really looking for. And we actually created a matrix of qualities and defined precisely what he wanted and why. And you know what? Almost immediately, he started meeting all kinds of people with those exact qualities. So what are you looking for in your current transition? Are you really ready to move forward? And how clear are you about where you want to be in, say, 5 years? So if you're ready to learn, unlearn, and relearn, welcome to the world of GapZip.